Here we are, SEPP Cooking Show, second last day, and it's New Year's Day. So Happy New Year to everyone, and all the best for you and your family for 2022, wherever you may be. And we were just chatting about the challenges of 2021. So, it might be good to leave it behind in a sense, but at the same time, what is it that we've learnt and what are the good experiences we've had in 2021? So how can we apply a bit of gratitude to that? And can we even say we can have gratitude for the challenges as well? There's always an opportunity for growth in challenges, difficult though it might be. And here we are on the journey to the Symbiocene, talking about the 8 ingredients of the spiritual environmental preservation practice. This is our spiritual and environmental community of practice, and the 8 ingredients are illustrated here. And we've been through the setting out, getting started on the journey to the Symbiocene, keeping on track. It's always challenging to do that, for me at least. What are the spiritual foundations that we're bringing to play? Let's think about our creativity. Practicing creativity is going to be an essential thing as we need to go into new ways of living. And we talked about travel, which is where we're getting to action yesterday. Today we're talking about how we can equip ourselves on the journey to the Symbiocene. And I'll just start off with a quote from 365 Days of Wisdom by Venerable Master Hsing Yun, and it's kind of a good guideline, I feel, for one of the basic things we can equip ourselves with. He says here, a mouthful of gentle words, a handful of good deeds, a smiling face, a heart full of happiness, as a way of carrying on through 2022. So if we equip ourselves with those things, we're off to a head start. The other thing that Glenn Albrecht has given us to equip ourselves with is his book Earth Emotions, and as it says down here, new words for a new world. And I have been surprised in reading Glenn's book, just in realizing and learning about the new words that he talks about. So for instance, he coined the word solastalgia, which is the discomfort, distress you might feel from the lack of solace from your environment after there's been environmental damage. Or he coined the word Symbiocene as well, which is where we live in mutual benefit with the planet. And he talks about eco-paralysis. And for me, that was a bit of a light turn on, because I've been thinking about, well, how is it that we can describe what I'm feeling, where I feel like sometimes I don't want to do anything about the big problem with climate change and the modern crises. And that word just helps to encapsulate that feeling of eco-paralysis. And sometimes it's big eco-paralysis where I just, no, not going to do a thing. Other times it's, small eco-paralysis where it's just, a bit of reluctance, a bit of annoyance. But there's other things that we can equip ourselves to take this journey to the Symbiocene. And we can think about, what competencies do we need? What capabilities can we develop? Let's employ faith to keep us going, not just hope, but faith is something that gives us a bit more of a foundational strength to keep going when things do seem hopeless. Faith is still there for us. We can do meditation so that we have a settled mind as we face the challenges, but also have a settled mind as we face the joys as well. It's not just about, it's all challenge and difficulty. and what is our practice, and what are our practice patterns? What have we put in place for like the rituals, daily rituals and things that we're doing, as we want to change our practice to be more environmentally friendly, to be more in mutual benefit with the planet. And well, there's basic things too. We want to equip ourselves to be energized and energetic and healthy. And so, are we getting enough sleep? There's so much research now about understanding the benefits of sleep, and it's a time for rest and recovery. How's our nutrition going? Is it all pizzas and cake? Or do we get to have some fresh veggies and some of like Ling's lovely green shakes? Exercise as well is another big deal, of course, for me. And I really notice the difference is doing the exercise just keeps my energy up. And the better my energy is, the better I am able to get things underway and to do practice around all sorts of things. And equip ourselves by going into nature and experiencing that nature is good for you feeling. And here's another word from Glenn Albrecht, which is when we are in nature and we kind of lose ourselves a bit in nature and we feel this deep connection, that kind of feeling, he describes that as euteria, and that's something that's available to us all. And so this is why it's good to have the garden at home. If you're in a unit, you can have the balcony garden. That's a good place as well. Or be out bushwalking and the like. And so 2022, there's lots of heartening things happening around the world as far as making the transition, with commitments being made to reduce emissions. One of our programs is the Nantian 2030 campaign, where we have monthly workshops, and this is how we can just have a monthly rhythm with expert speakers coming along and community discussion. And that 2030 is talking about the goal for 2030 that we have reduced emissions by 45% by 2030. And so we do see a movement towards that commitment by governments around the world, by organisations, by the finance sector. There's lots of organisations, companies right across the finance sector who are committing to supporting that in meaningful ways. So all these things are in progress, and so it's a lot about what we do ourselves at the grassroots level. What contribution can I make? What contribution is available to me? What can I put into action? What can I practice? And how can I participate in a community that gives the support for that and gives meaning to that? Okay, over to Ling to just looking at this lovely array of fresh ingredients here. We're going to find out what Ling magic is coming about.
I would like to express my gratitude to all great conditions, like Tom has mentioned before, our beautiful country, our elders from past, present and futures, our masters, especially Master Hsing Yun, the elders from past, present and futures, as well as our traditional owners of the land as well. They have been giving us such a beautiful role models or footsteps to follow. How is it that we can actually be being in that space where we are not consuming the whole world? This morning is Happy New Year's, by the way, everybody. Happy New Year's. So I will Happy New Year. I'm actually from a Teochew culture, so I just would like to actually just share a little bit of my cultures with you, because on the New Year, what we actually staying away from according to my mother, this is not necessarily all the Teochew people actually doing that, because I remember as a child, New Year's, you don't eat bitter melon, because like you don't want your life to actually to fill with your whole years to fill with bitterness. But
Well,
Tom have another saying.
Well, as Master Hsing Yun pointed out to us, where there's Dharma, there is a way. So bitterness in life is not something that we need to have aversion for. It's something that we can take on board and learn from and grow from.
Another thing that we actually don't have in the Chinese New Year is actually mango. The word mango in Teochew is actually suai. Suai is actually very close to suai, which is actually mean bad luck. So you don't eat anything that is actually having that bad word. And the good thing that people actually will have is banana, because xiangjiao is actually, it's something that is actually you want to have with nice fragrance. And these vegetables, which is actually the xiang chai, it's also start with xiang as well. So the fragrance, you want your life to have actually lots of fragrance. So that's what actually people actually would have and stay with when in the China in the New Year's. And the other thing also, noodles, because noodles is actually representing longevities, and noodles come from rice. Rice is actually the uge, one of the 5 main thing that is actually very important in Chinese life. So another thing that is actually good is that people actually, the Teochew people, according to my mother, because like I was actually helping her when there's actually festive seasons, helping her with the cooking, is the beans. So I also actually have got the garlic chives from the garden as well. Garlic chives is also to be considered to be one of the things that the Chinese people actually will eat. One of the things is that when the story, this is how the story goes. So one of the emperor from the past, when he was actually faced up with difficulty in life, in his life, because people actually wanted to kill him. His office, like being emperor, one of the things is that your life is actually often in dangers, right? So when he was actually, his life was in dangers, he was actually fleeing from being killed, being assassinated. He came to this guy himself as an ordinary person, and then he was actually stays in a family in the farm, and the family was very poor. They hardly actually have anything to eat. Every day they would actually have the bean sprouts, because bean sprouts are actually quite cheap to do, and it will fill you up. And the woman from that house is actually serve him bean sprout with the garlic chai. So that is actually becoming one of the thing that people are actually talking about, like this is actually the king's food, the emperor's food. So that is something that people actually wanted to have, to have auspicious, to have good life, to have longevity, to have all those things. But again, that is actually can be what you call them, what superstitious, and it's cultural. Whereas in Buddhism, our Master Hsing Yun said, 日日是好日，人人是好人，处处是好处。So basically he actually saying every day is a good day, every person is a good person, every encounter is a good encounter. So our, like Tom was mentioning, aversions. What is it that we actually wanted to do with the aversion? Another thing with our mind and with our belief Another thing with this is, I don't know if you can actually recognize what is this. This is actually from our garden. I love it. The more I pick it, the more it's actually come, up. And you can actually eat these biscuits as well.
The lion's whiskers, in fact.
The lion biscuits. So this is quite expensive. It's actually lion biscuits, but yet it's so easy to grow. It go mad. It really actually going mad. It's just the two things.
It's the choco, of course.
It's choco's why. This is actually always our choices, right? If we actually wanted to eat the choco wine like I do, I put them in soup. I eat them raw. Then I would not get any fruit. If I actually wanted the chocos to produce fruit, then I will not pick the stalks and the leaf to eat. There always is actually that options, that opportunity. If you're actually looking at it, the aversions, if you like, whatever it is you called it, what is it is your choice. Like His Holiness the Dalai Lama, I love him. He actually saying that we all have 60 seconds in a minute. How we choose to spend our 60 seconds, make it our choice. Don't leave it to someone else. Because, if you actually leave it to Bill or leave it to Tom, then you can actually say it's all Tom's fault. This is very convenient. You can always blame someone else. Or if you actually learning to be an adult, take responsibility and, make that choice and earn up to that choice. If my fingers can't snap it, that mean to me is that my body or my teeth can chew. If my fingers cannot snap it, that means it's actually too hard. I won't be able to actually to chew it. Shallot is also from our garden as well is the, thank you Mary, thank you for that encouragement, and the tomatoes. Shallot is actually very good for our health, but some Buddhists, they don't take them at all. And with the spring, with the shallot, it's also very auspicious as well. So let's check. Why is it that I've actually have all these things is actually separate and not mix them all together? And why is it that, I have that many things? So another thing also with how I was growing up with my mother, because I was helping her doing the cooking when there is actually festive seasons. 7 things, 7 ingredients. So let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm actually, have 9 ingredients. That means that, 2022 is going to be beautiful. Okay, I have got oils in there. And what I'm actually going to do, I'm putting the thing that is actually hard to cook first. There is cats in the house. That's what the cats is actually making the noise.
Those noisy cats. Here it is. Here's the noisy cat.
It's a noisy cat.
Stop making all that noise, Kissy.
That's right. Stop making those noise. Okay, let's try this one. Okay, that is actually not too bad. All right. So the reason I'm actually put, normally I don't actually heat up the oil at all, because if I've actually let the oil heat up, because I'm actually use olive oil. Olive oil is actually not heating up very well. So once I've actually put the oils in there, straight away I put the vegetables in there, and I can hear with seasonings. And the sauce I'm actually going to use today, I'm going to use the pepper, black pepper. I'm going to use a little bit of sweet soy sauce. And the other thing I'm going to use is the mushroom soy sauce. And as you can actually tell there, they're all bottles. That is my choice. And the choices of noodles I have is that I bought this new. I think I pay about $2 or something for these noodles. It's guan miao mian. It's actually 手镯日晒 They're actually handmade, and they actually use the sun to dry it, not in the machine dry. And it's from Taiwan. Normally, when we are in Taiwan, you will see these noodles actually being dry at the grounds of the temple, the Tao temple. I only use 2 lots of this. So it's actually quite handy, you know, instead of using the instant noodles, I just use 2 of this one, and that's the amount that I got when I cook.
What's this called, Ling?
Oh, auspicious noodles. Happy New Year's. It's a New Year noodles. You know, this dish is actually auspicious. Why is it auspicious? Because like I said, normally we actually concentrate on 7 different ingredients, but today we did very well. We have 9 ingredients. Now you can actually see everything is actually sizzling up. So what I'm actually going to do, I just pop everything in here. And at this stage, I'm going to add the seasoning. Tom sometimes actually saying, oh, it's too hot, because I'm quite heavy with my pepper.
Very enthusiastic with the pepper.
And I put my soy sauce in there and the sweet soy sauce. The reason I'm actually use sweet soy sauce is that because there's actually noodles involved. Now at this stage, I'm going to give it a nice little stir. We all need a little bit of stirs in our life, don't you? Do you think so, Tom? if life...
It's not part of the New Year celebration, is it? The Aussie stirrer.
Like if we actually only expecting sweet from our life, then we get used to, you know, when we actually come to you know, having an issues or having a little problem, we got stuck because we haven't had practice. We haven't had that resilience. Okay, I add the bean sprouts, because bean sprout, you don't want to cook the bean sprout too long. And once the bean sprout is actually down, I also add the noodle as well. So basically, you don't want to cook your noodles, or you don't want to cook your bean sprout. Once the bean sprout is in, you just turn it in. I use the same pan to cook my noodles earlier, and I use the same pan to stir fry. If I can actually use less water, if I can use less detergent, if I can use less the sauces, then I have done my job. I have done, you know, I have contributing to the target, like Tom was actually talking about.
The Sustainable Living Festival is held every year for the last 20 years, based in Melbourne, and the Nantian 2030 campaign has applied to do a workshop. Well, and guess what? It's called The Journey to the Symbiocene, and that would be a workshop with music, an expert speaker and community discussion on an introduction to Journey to the Symbiocene. So that will be a little bit later, in a few months' time. I imagine we'll be doing that.
In March, isn't it?
And it'll be online. Typically the Sustainable Living Festival has been at Federation Square in Melbourne. But of course, with COVID, we have the opportunity to do online as well.
Yeah. So I have actually, thank you so much, Thomas. And you know, if you can actually join us, or if you would like to contribute in whatever way, you know, like Master Hsing Yun say, contribution. It doesn't have to be money. It doesn't have to be volunteering. It can just be a smile. It can just be what Mary was doing. You know, like and Bill's doing. Join us. You know, zoom in and you know, telling us, you know, what is it that, give us the reflections. What is it that you think? Have a look at that. I have turned off the heat, and that is actually done, and everything is actually mixed in. Now the next thing that we is doing is that placing. Placing is also another skills. It's also another. That's why, you know, like you can actually buy the same food and you pay next to nothing. Or if you go to the restaurants, fancy restaurants, you pay a lot more.
You pay for the delicately arranged carrots.
like when we were in Taiwan, if you haven't been to Taiwan, I highly recommend you go to Taiwan.
Yeah, the food culture there for vegetarian food has gone to another level. You just can't find the same thing in Australia with the artistry that people put into the presentation and thinking about the different kinds of combinations of food for vegetarian dishes. So we went to the Regal Lotus Smorgasbord restaurant in Taipei. There was over 200 dishes available. And there was hundreds of people there enjoying.
You're vegans, is it?
Yes, it was vegan. Yeah. So tables and tables and tables of different vegetarian, vegan dishes. Just amazing.
How does it look? And now another thing also, it's not like more is better. So in Taiwan, the food is actually very much careful. They cook from their heart, and they cook with the sustainability in mind, the presentations, and also in seasons as well. And that's what I'm actually inspired from. When I'm actually go to Taiwan, I really love going to Taiwan because it's such a beautiful place where food actually being seen as arts. Food is actually being seen as ecotherapy. Food is being seen of not just the meditation, not just meditations, but not just the beauty, but it's also medicines as well. Yeah. So here we have got it. Small serving, and that is actually combinations of that. Happy New Year's, Bill and Mary, and longevities and auspicious greeting and to us all, to the whole world.